Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the SWAN Pricing Show. My name is Filip Fucic. I'm a pricing mentor.
And I'm Filip Zolota, the owner of growth marketing agency Maoyo.
What are we going to talk about today?
We have a devilish plan for today. We will be talking about a request for proposals. That is our today topic. So let's start.
Let's start by first reviewing the difference as we usually do between the SWAN cases and the duck cases, right? So usually when it's about commoditized services, which we here call the duck pricing and duck cases and duck services, the usual services, RFPs make sense. They're usually unfair, but they make sense. They make economical sense. Yeah. However, in SWAN cases, they kind of don't, because this specialist is 50% more expensive doesn't mean that they're simply worse, which in duck cases, for the company hiring, yeah, usually doesn't really matter who you take. So it's just a matter of who can offer the cheaper price, who can manage their costs in a way that they can offer a cheaper price, and that's being competitive in the duck world. Not true here. Absolutely not. Costs are not the main reason why something has a price like it does, right? So a more expensive translator doesn't really have more costs than a cheaper translator. I mean, sure, if it has employees or something like that, but if we're talking about solopreneurs here, no, he's just better, more in demand. But RFPs kind of are complete. That's a complete blind spot to them. So the really big differences in quality. So what do you do?
Yeah, I must say that is one of my most favorite topics. The problem with the RFPs in general is the fact that you cannot win in that game. If you are in demand on the market, you can receive a numerous requests for proposal, and you can maybe even employ 2, 3, or how many people you need only to handle, manage, and create proposals for potential business engagements. That is meaningless, because you will be wasting so many resources and time, potentially, and very often in vain. The point is to approach the respectable challenge with selecting and proper segmentation. That can be done by implementing paid service in terms of creating a proposal. And also, there is no chance that you'll be just sending a proposal based on some RFP which jumped into your inbox just like that. You need to have that respectable client sitting in the room or online and speak very specifically about their challenges, problems, issues, and general project requirements. It is important that both sides invest the time and effort, and in the end, that way you can properly manage the expectation, the requirements of the project, etc., etc., etc. Because mostly those businesses which are just sending a request for proposals, their primary criteria for choosing their partner is lower price. So most of expertise-based businesses which are providing top-notch service cannot compete in that respectable realm. And you are just wasting crazy amount of time for the promise of maybe, and that business engagement simply won't happen. It's practically impossible. I think that even from entire volume of requests for proposals you receive, maybe 0.1, 0.5 or up to 1% of all of them you can actually convert. But what that is, it's merely based on luck, because you don't have any kind of engagement, communication, and you don't have the proper requirement scope for respectable project what is on the table. And that is big issue.
I've been in a company when we won a big RFP that we didn't. So I was working for somebody else, right? And we won an RFP contest that we didn't expect to win, and everybody was deathly worried because why didn't anybody else outcompete us, right? What do they know that we don't? And it was a really, 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 really bad job. like a significant chunk of the best people left immediately after it. It's IT. It happens. But so yeah. Sometimes even if you win, it's not good. However, I think you said it well. Playing that game, so having people full time in writing all of those proposals and calculating stuff that is uncertain upfront, and it's mostly wasted time. Then you have to charge a lot to compensate for all of those 99 that you didn't get, and that means that the client has to pay for all of that, although they didn't get any value out of that, but you have to eat something. Overall, that can absolutely work in the commoditized space, in the dark world. But for us, I mostly say to people, don't play that game. So if somebody asks you for a proposal, the best thing to do is not to answer with a proposal. The best thing to do is ask them some counter questions, some clarifying questions. Because people who write these things are usually not specialists, not experts in that field, and you can usually find at least some major things that could have been written clearer. So if you do that, you have a chance of bypassing the gatekeeper, because you're never, even if you can talk to somebody who issued an RFP and you want to get them to the table, as you said, you usually don't even have a chance for contact. You're talking to a secretary. You're talking to a gatekeeper of somebody who can say no but cannot say yes. They're not empowered to do that, right? It's a no-go. So the way that you can get to somebody who can at least sit down and talk to you is basically to not to confuse them, but to show them that their RFP is confused. 99% of them are confused. The 1% that are not were written by somebody for them who is now waiting to get awarded that job, right? Usually. So usually either you don't have a chance anyway of winning that, or you can find something that is confusing, or you're not an expert if you can't confuse somebody who did an RFP like that. So ask, well, when you said 16 days, right? Did you mean beginning from this or beginning from that? Because it's not the same 16 days. If I have to wait to get your material first, and you take 30 days as people usually do, then there's always wiggle room. There's always ambiguousness, and the thing is, they can't really answer you, because if they answer you either way, now you have different terms in your RFP than everybody else, because nobody else got that clarification. And okay, so you guarantee 16 days, but with this addition, and everybody else has to guarantee 16 days, but beginning where? Nobody knows. So you can't really be compared equally now, not anymore. So usually they will say, oh, okay, this question is above my pay grade, and flip you up to somebody with a higher pay grade that can now talk to you, or you do the same trick. So this is how you avoid playing the game. If that doesn't work, or you get somebody around the table and they say, no, we're fully committed to going the RFP route. I think it's Blair Enns that says, okay, like we don't do that. We don't do RFPs. We don't do pitching without payment, right? That's not a thing with us. But if this doesn't work out the way you hoped it would, we're here, right? We're happy to talk to you. If this works out for you, power to you, man. But if it doesn't, then come back and we'll talk, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a better chance of winning that job than to simply comply with what they're asking. Because very often what they asked is not what they should have been asking.
Exactly. And the briefs are terrible in most cases. I know merely from the experience.
Yes.
We had one specific case, one project, initial brief was about some smaller scope and lower level of complexity of e-commerce solution, but we simply demanded the meeting and everything else by the book and our process and procedures, and the end point was and scope of project was 10 times the initial size, and
oh, okay.
From e-commerce to entire platform with numerous automations, etc., etc., etc. But nobody mentioned that in the brief. And also, that is an opportunity for people simply to sit at the meeting to see, are they even fit for that respectable job, and what are the general expectations. My practice overall, which I'm big advocate of in general, and suggesting that to all my colleagues, friends, partners, and clients overall in expertise-based business, is paid consultancy by default, paid proposals if the prospect is demanding written proposal, and then that paid amount can be deducted later on from overall project scope, or you can create a dedicated consulting session or a workshop for which you'll go through all the relevant and necessary details with specific conclusion, with detailed document of requirements, specification, etc., and then you have tangible product, which can later on be used inside that respectable project, or with the same documentation that respectable person and prospect can go to anybody else. But they have clarified all necessary things, and you were paid for your consultancy, for your time, for your effort, for your support overall. And if you engage, then you deduct from overall project scope, because most often what is happening, two most seen cases in RFPs are people are just going down the route of to get a proper look and feel what they can expect in terms of budget, but that sort of people won't be contacting you ever again. It's done deal.
Yeah,
those, as mentioned previously, are price buyers. So those are most of cases when you see requests for proposal and people who are not ready to sit on a call. We even had a case when we said, okay, we need to define a time, jump on a meeting, etc. Yeah, we are now just in the phase of collecting proposals. Thank you, bye-bye.
Worst case scenario, you have a boilerplate thing. So you have a copy paste of a document that says, we don't get out of bed for less than 10,000 plus minus 30% depending on details.
Yeah.
So, you know, as they say, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So, you know, if you're just wondering how much this would cost you, between 7 and 13, but I like to formulate it more of a middle and then plus minus 30% than to say to Because if you say from 7 to 13, they heard 7.
Yeah. You have anchored the number. That's it. It's a box. It's boxed already. So
Yes.
yeah, it's done.
So anyway, it's mathematically the same thing, but you're not talking to robots, so it doesn't really matter that it is. But yes. By the way, I like the process that you mentioned. So one of the often mentioned counters from clients is no, look, we have to do it this way. We have to do an RFP. It's our process. That's how we do things, right? And that's fine. But you can always counter with your own process. You can say, yeah, but you don't do this every day. So that might work for 99% of things. And if you're searching for somebody to wash your windows on the first floor, I'm sure that's completely adequate. For something expertise-based, creative, like what we do, this is simply not adequate. I do it every day, and I also have a process, and my process says that this is completely the wrong way to go about it. We can talk about it if you like, but there are major disadvantages for both you and me by going through your process, right? So you have a process and I have a process, but I'm a specialist, right? So, and I think it was Jonathan Stark. So he's a programmer, and he needed to. He was spotted on a conference, and they wanted him to do their mobile something, and he didn't want to go through RFPs, right? And they say, look, our purchasing department requires us to go through RFPs. And he said, okay, then good luck finding somebody who will go through RFPs. Yep. So no, it has to be you, right? Well, go and tell that to your purchasing department. That sounds more like a you problem, yep. Right? Why are you telling me? Go tell them. Yeah, okay. I agree. It would be great if that was me. I'm still not gonna go through your process. Your process is wrong. It's like a tradition, right? You have to do it like this. It's tradition. Well, a lot of bad things can be called traditions. Now they're not traditions anymore. Why? Because they were bad.
Just bad practices. Just bad practices.
So something, it's a process. Firstly, it can go both ways, and secondly, it's not really an argument. It's a tradition. So change it.
Yeah.
I mean, how did that tradition came to be? Well, it was changed from the previous tradition. There you go.
And you know what is important here to mention? It is the game. It's chicken or the egg. Who is responsible? Experts are responsible.
Yes.
Not the client.
Yes.
We are responsible because we are setting up the frame. Regular practice, when you're going to the private doctor practice, you are paying for the examination, right? You're going to the bakery buying bread, you're paying for it. What is then wrong with the consultancy, with RFPs, and other expertise-based activities? It is the paradigm shift. It's necessary to be done by us. That is important.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I like. Let me, since I started dropping names, let me drop another one then. David C. Baker's new book mentions that he started asking for all money up front.
Yeah,
what he does, because he got into a situation where he needed to bring some really bad news to a client. And then he found himself wrestling with his own thoughts. If I tell him that, he may not be willing to pay me, but he needs to know that in order for me to do my job properly. I cannot pull any punches. I'm not here to make him feel good. I'm here to tell him the truth. If
Yeah.
I found something based on data, he needs to know that, right? So after that experience, he simply charges up front so that he is completely free to do his job
Exactly.
without having a conflict of interest. Is it really in my best interest to tell him the complete truth? So, and I do agree. When I'm talking to my kid, he's a smart kid. If he doesn't get something, that's on me, right? If I let him play with matches and he gets burned, that's on me. Now, okay, clients are not kids. However, they don't really understand what you do. They don't see what you see, and therefore it's on you to tell them that process, yeah, that process is garbage when it comes to this case, right? It may have been good for other things. It may also have been bad and you haven't noticed. That's fine. I wouldn't notice it if it wasn't within my field, but it is within my field. So it's my task to tell you. So it's my duty to tell you, right? That this is bad. That process is bad. Ignore it, change it, do whatever you like. I'm not going along with it because this is not within, this is not in your interest, and it's not in mine, right?
Yeah.
If everything else fails, if you have to go through an RFP and you don't have the time or the contacts or the leeway, the runway, you don't have enough money, and you simply want to go through that because that seems like the best possible solution. So you can't afford to tell them come back when this fails, because you need a chance of this going right. Then do whatever you can to not be completely not be easy to compare. So offer a guarantee that nobody else will, or offer up a better for the client way of paying, or more insight of the client within what you do, or do whatever you can so that they can, when they do look at prices, they cannot simply say, okay, this one is number 4 by price and that's it. No, this one is number 4, but look, he's guaranteeing something.
Yeah.
And the rest are not. That's not the same. That's not the same, because everybody else maybe has a lower per hour or per day fee, but who knows how long they will take. So we may end up paying more. And this is a guarantee, which means we will not pay more than this. That's something else. That's something else. So I don't know if you have additional tips. You deal with those cases more than I do.
Yeah. Practically, I mentioned I'm quite strict to the policy of simply I'm not being engaged within the RFPs by default. No pitching and similar situations, or if they want for us to be engaged with their requirements, services being paid, consultancy, workshop, and other stuff. That is the practice. And what is important, that people in the end who are truly very serious about business and looking for a true partner, they respect that. That is the fact, because one important thing is that through the conversation window, when you are seeing that from the perspective chronological aspect, you have, as a professional, as a specialist, adequate control, so you can manage expectations, manage the flow. You have specific key points, and in several iterations, no matter how many you need, you can dissect every possible aspect of the business and give relevant value in terms of suggestion, consultancy, and other stuff. In the end, a chance of closing deal rises through the process of engagement. You don't have any kind of bonds with the prospect, nor prospect has with you. You'll be ghosted in most cases. You will be the one who'll be sending a catch-up letter. Oh, hello, dear potential client. Have you saw my proposal? Blah blah blah. You're communicating neediness, so you already lost. You already lost that game, and that is the way why experts should be leaving that as much as possible aside and be very strict in terms of policy and the approach. I must say, and I always emphasize, you sometimes need to have a luck, because a luck is surely one of the elements of business in life in general.
Yeah.
I had crazy situations, several of them, no money, BS situation, but no, I was strict about my policy. This is my paradigm. I'm tightly connected with it. This is the only way we do stuff. Things could go sideways. A lot of things bad could happen. Luckily, they didn't. So it's a matter of decision, ad hoc, in the moment. And as you mentioned, sometimes if the specific case and scenario doesn't go in your favor, try to look different, be different, and give extra boost in terms of value and approach, and give that respectable essence and uniqueness inside that freaking document we called proposal.
Cool. Do you think we missed something important yet?
I think not. We covered pretty much good entire topic, at least for now.
Right. So, Philip, where can people find you?
People can find me on LinkedIn. They can also find me on my agency page, Agency, and my consultancy practice, and my most personal page, philipzolota.com.
Cool. People can find me on LinkedIn as well, and more often on my web page, which is fearless-pricing.com. People, we hope that our frustration showed today, and it has therefore been fun. And see you next time. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.